It's a great pleasure to welcome you to this program, which will give us clear references to a large number of very ancient vestiges of civilizations that existed and were wiped out by what has been repeatedly alluded to all over the world as the Great Floods. We shall fix our attention to a diversity of objects that we consider as enigmatic vestiges because we ignore what were their origins, who were their authors, what functions did they fulfill, and to what period in time do they belong to, and so forth. Furthermore, we shall explore ancient myths that continue to captivate us due to their entertainment value and their ability to surprise us with their originality and talents to create fantastical stories and events. However, some factors are not merely speculative, but rather evoke what we may consider intuitive suppositions that often turn out to be very powerful and convincing assertions. Consequently, they frequently enable us to differentiate fictitious tales from those that conclusively proceed from various regions and cultures from around the world. Establishing their precise chronology is very important, yet it becomes extremely difficult to trace down such random and long-lasting cataclysms, and so it doesn't allow for any other alternative but to place it as a secondary priority of minor relevance. Among such myths, there are those that regard architecture and urban design where buildings and their inhabitants were devastated. The best well-known example is, of course, Atlantis, but there are sources that mention places depicted in the traditions and graphic representations from the 6 primordial civilizations. These references are found in their writings and in sculptural carvings, as well as in their sophisticated ceremonial centers and their varied pyramidal architectural forms that were used as sacred places for worship and ceremonies to their gods. Even in present times, we find the modern basilica dedicated to the Virgin Mary of Guadalupe in Mexico City, which is the world's most visited Catholic temple, second only to St. Peter's Cathedral in the Vatican. This religious building is of a conical shape so that it symbolizes the holy mountain that reaches towards the heavens, providing blessings to the multitudes of believers. Another well-known legend refers to the Tower of Babel, built in an attempt to reach the heavens where the gods dwelt. This also symbolizes the concept of opposite and complementary forces interacting in harmony, exemplified by the male and female sacred principles associated with rebirth, and the afterlife considering the 3 possibilities of dwelling places: the underworld, Earth's surface, and the heavens. A most clear example in nature would be a volcano. This tower further symbolizes the early historical pyramids that served as platforms and at its summit as an altar for making sacred ceremonial offerings to their gods. A more logical and simple interpretation is that the tower represents mountain peaks where the fortunate ones were able to save their lives while the floods destroyed what was far below them. They anxiously waited for the waters to recede, witnessing the rest of mountains and hills gradually appearing from their top down to the surface below. These anticipations and suspense allowed them to attribute divine sacredness to the mountains and their architectural symbol, which is the pyramid. Moving on to other evidential vestiges that have awakened our curiosity and interest will require bringing forth a clear understanding of valuable information as to give support to the existence of antediluvian civilizations. In the Western world, we have had the opportunity to learn about the discoveries made by outstanding Russian and Chinese investigators that had been censored by the USA Inquisition for decades. Their discoveries have led to many sites filmed in the underground, in caves, under the sea, on the surface, in jungles, deserts, and covered by ice. These findings are shown and explained in videos, leaving little room for the possibility of being Hollywood-style hoaxes or the human landing on the moon, a loser's fairy tale. All these countless vestiges have always been able to survive as writings, buildings, cultural beliefs, social practices, and the like, which even though they might be scarcely spread over wide territorial extensions, these are sufficient to lead us to many unexpected explanations. It's a fact that irrefutable evidence of various characteristics points to the great antiquity of numerous advanced civilizations predating our present historical time, having disappeared some 10 to 15,000 years ago. Recent discoveries of submerged cities at significant depths, made possible by present-day technology, has allowed us to locate and explore these sites. Detailed images captured by special cameras and other specialized equipment provide solid verification. For example, a city was discovered in the narrow strait between Cuba and Mexico. Dwarka, also known as the city of Krishna, was found underwater in India. And a city in Yonaguni, southern Japan, was filmed underwater in very clear detail. Many other cases exist worldwide. It is essential to focus on the available fundamental evidence that offers a clear understanding through the use of computer calculations of the astronomical orientation of buildings and ceremonial plazas. These calculations determine the actual alignments with star constellations and other celestial bodies, such as the Sun, the Moon, Venus, etc. Specific moments in their positions were crucial for designing urban sites and various types of calendars. The precision achieved in their calendars was of utmost importance for identifying the beginning of seasons, equinoxes, solstices, high and low tides, rainy seasons, and optimal timings for agricultural activities and animal migrations. The exceptional importance placed on calendar systems was a very remarkable achievement of the Mayas. All these considerations would allow us to reach a very profound conclusion that would be manifested in their outstanding developments. These have served the purpose of safeguarding their historical memory and also registering their more valuable and meaningful events, their religious beliefs, and most significantly, their social and political organization, in order to maintain the status of advanced civilization for several thousands of years, until the barbaric newcomers invaded the American continent. Later on, in modern times, many archaeological sites, before being explored, have unfortunately been destroyed by construction operations or by the violent forces of nature. It is also a misfortune that there are still too many present-day pirates dedicated to the art of stealing so many valuable objects. And even to this day, these are so shamelessly stored in royal vaults, where deliveries of cultural treasures and their gold were meant to be safeguarded, but somehow ended up in the official caves of terrorist gentlemen who refused to return them. Much of this would be ideal for supplying and to equip the vicious and voracious so-called prestigious museums and universities in France, England, Spain, Germany, and of course the USA, etc., and who impudently boast as though they had been named custodian angels of such loot, constantly plundering all over the world. The exhibition of such objects outside their homeland, where they belong is to condemn them to the same misfortune of so many beautiful animals that have been murdered in an abhorrent and senseless hunting, and later on are shamefully exhibited in an environment of luxurious cemeteries, left not only lifeless, but also soulless. Architecture is one of the fine arts that renders homage to the holiness of life and elevates the spirituality of the soul for countless of human beings. It's been a pleasure sharing this video with you, and I wish that you too have found it interesting and motivating as to your cultural expectations. Take care, and may you have a very gratifying day. Bye.